Before we start this new episode of Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast would like to send its deepest condolences to the friends and family of DJ Nice in Austin, Texas. DJ Nice just passed recently, suddenly and surprisingly. It was a shock to everybody. He was a staple in Austin, Texas. He's always been so kind and generous to me and the whole crew here at R.O.A.D. We really want to support him and his family. There is going to be a donation link in our description, as well as a link in the bio for donations to help with his funeral services and to help with any type of funding that his family might need right now. Please donate whatever you can, whether it's $1, $5, $10. We want to make sure that we remember him and we support him. He's a peer, he's a brother, so please give what you can. To the city of Austin, Texas, to the friends and family of DJ Nice, we're so sorry for your loss. Rest in peace, DJ Nice. Hey, yo, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast presented by DJ City and Beat Source. I am one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We do not have DJ Never here. He is MIA. But we do have DJ D Miles.
What up?
Who is not MIA.
Not getting his ass fixed this week.
And he's not getting his ass fixed this week.
Let's go.
We have Jamie the Great.
Yeah.
And we have a special guest today. His first time on the podcast, but he's been in our circle for a long time. Longer than I even knew he was in my circle. I see him as like the next breed of DJs emerging from Las Vegas, even though he's been in the game for a while, a long time now. But I really enjoy hearing him DJ. And he's one of my favorite people in the city. We have DJ Neek Lopez in the building.
Sir.
What's good, Neek?
What up, brother?
What's up, y'all? Thank
What's
you.
up, man?
What's up, man?
You're busy dude, man. You're doing a lot of parties downtown, and you have a podcast with Phenom and Jupiter Williams, the 5 on 5 podcast.
Yes.
And now you're on this podcast.
Like podcast inception.
Yeah.
So you and I have a history, right? You and I.
Yes.
You've told this story maybe once or twice.
Right.
I don't know
Multiple times.
I don't know if I've heard it.
You know, you've never heard
Take
it?
a story.
It's a funny story.
Hold on to your seats.
So
It's a story on how I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
But in actuality, Neek's the asshole.
I think upon reflection, I think I'm the asshole in this.
You're the
situation.
asshole. I will say you're the asshole.
You were doing your job.
Yeah.
And I fucking felt so inclined
Right.
to comment
No.
and make a request.
So they just tell the whole story.
Let me tell the story.
Yeah.
So I've been a busser in a nightclub for a long time for XS and Omnia.
Do you know that a lot of DJs started out that way?
You know what? I've realized over the years, like, is meeting people that a lot of DJs have been like, oh, I used to bus here, I used to bus there.
Or bartend, right?
Yeah, bartend, bar back.
Kirk, he used to bust with one of our favorite DJs in the city, DJ Clutch.
David Clutch.
Me and Pookie, me and David Clutch used to DJ.
Do you call him Pookie?
Yeah, that's his OG DJ name, Pookie. That's
No.
He made the right move.
Pookie Tunes.
Pookie Tunes was his.
Pookie
wow.
Tunes?
Yeah.
He doesn't look like a Pookie Tunes.
So like in my mind, I never called him David. He's as long as I've known him since
He's
I was
been
like
Pookie
21.
Tunes.
He's been Pookie.
Wow.
Damn.
So
In the busser community.
yeah, all of the homies, we all call him the Buster community.
He's a great
Juice boy.
He's a great DJ.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
He's a fucking workhorse. That
Yeah.
guy's insane. But yeah, so back when I was at Trist is when I first saw you, XS, and then Omnia is when I first time I probably actually spoke to you. And
You were bussing.
I was bussing.
And you had my section and I was DJing.
Yes. So you probably came in, I probably introduced myself like, yo, I'm going to be your busser tonight.
Right.
I never introduced myself as a DJ.
Was I a dick when you introduced me?
No, you were cool. Like
Yeah.
the initial like handshake, we were cool.
I'm trying to lay the foundation.
Yeah. No, you were cool. You were totally cool.
I'm going to try to defend myself. Go ahead.
No, because this is probably, I think every interaction I've had with you prior to that, because I've introduced myself to you before, and it's been like, don't know you, but I mean, I'm just staff, so I get it.
Yeah.
So then later on in the night, you're playing your set, and I'm always like, yo, Crooked's like one of my favorite open format DJs because he kind of plays newer shit. He's not playing like just the hits. Like a new song comes out that's popping, he'll play. A lot of guys don't do that or weren't doing that then anyways. But at the time I was like in a Playboy Cardi mood And I think I asked you, I was like, yo, it was like the end of your set. Like you were just kind of going off the rip. And I was like, yo, do you have any Cardi? And you look at me like I fucking stunk. And you go, are you fucking serious? like moved your headphone off and looked at me like disgusted. You're like, are you fucking serious? And I was like, nah. And like just nah, I'm not fucking serious. Fuck that guy.
And you were like, fuck him, right?
Yeah, immediately. I was like, I thought he was cool. Like I thought he was cool. And like at this point I'm like starting to like gig out a little bit. Like starting to meet people.
What year was this?
Fuck, this is pre-pandemic, so this
2017,
maybe.
Yeah, Playboy Cardi era was 16, 17.
Yeah.
So maybe even 16.
Do you remember what I was playing at the time when you requested that?
No, it was at the end of your set. So
I was doing R&B or something, right?
You were probably like playing,
just flying through
shit, like, and some of it was newer. I don't think it was like R&B. You weren't like slowing down.
Okay.
But I mean, it might, at the end of your set, you're probably coming down like. So you probably were like, yo, that's way too tough. Like, it probably made sense for you to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, it's not that.
It's Cardi B.
No.
I mean, it's Playboy Cardi.
It's not that. It's not that.
But also, like, I don't remember if I told you I was a DJ because that's corny and I hate doing that anyways. Mm-hmm. Especially, like, I'm in a busser uniform. I'm also a DJ. Like, that's, I've never thought that was fly to do. So I don't want to assume that I did that, but like to be like, I'm a DJ and then an hour later come and make a request is like the corniest of things to do. So I want to hope I didn't do that. I would like to believe I didn't do that, but if I did that, that would warrant the, are you fucking kidding me? Like you should know better.
I mean, look, like in retrospect, what I should have said was like, yo, I'll try to throw it on.
Right.
Which was what I should have done.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like in retrospect, being more self-aware now in my mature age.
It was probably a couple of drinks in. It's the end of the night.
But I would actually say I would have said like, yo, let me try to work it in. Like let me try to play it. I'll try to. You know what I mean?
But it's funny to get the explanation now. Like now that I am a working DJ. Like
but how long did you think I was an asshole after that?
I mean, I think I just felt more silly more than like you being an asshole.
Okay.
I think I was just like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that.
So like from my perspective, what that's like is like we're in war together.
Right.
Right? So we're in war because that's how I feel like. If you're a busser there, you're a bartender there, you're security there, you're a waitress there, right? And I'm DJing there, we're in war. We're in battle together.
We're on the same side.
We're on the same side, So then it's kind of like when we're in war and the battle's actually happening, the bottles are coming out. We have to win the battle, which is to make as much money as possible. Yeah. You want to sell as many tables and bottles. You want the tables to continue to buy bottles. So at the end of the night, it's like I'm giving everything to the room and to you and the staff so you guys can make money.
Right.
And in the last 45 minutes, half an hour, I just kind of want for me.
Right.
Yeah, it's you time.
You understand? So so from my perspective, it wasn't like, yo, crook, like you just spun like, and I think I was closing the night out. So I was probably maybe 3 to 4 hours in, maybe.
Yeah, that probably was the thing.
So I was like 3 to 4 hours in, and it wasn't like, yo, you want some water? You want anything?
It was, hey, play me a song. It was like,
yo, play me the song. So for me, I was like, like I just kind of felt like, yo, you fucking serious? Like I just felt like.
No, it totally makes sense.
From my perspective, I felt unappreciated. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
I get that. I know, that's what I was saying, like upon retrospect.
And then I kind of looked at you like, I thought we was on the same, I thought you was one of us.
I thought we had a good rapport.
I thought you understood. Yeah. You know what I mean?
We shook hands, we were cool. I thought we were.
Yeah.
No, and it's funny because like full circle, I just recently had the exact same thing happen to me.
Oh yeah.
But how did you react?
Tell him.
It fucking ruined my night.
You should have said the same thing, right?
Are you fucking kidding me? It happened at the top of the night though. Like I hadn't even played music yet.
And it was a busser?
No, it was a bartender.
Oh yeah.
I hadn't even started playing yet. I'm like setting up my laptop. Whoop-de-whoop. Bartender comes up to me. He's like, "Hey man, I got these girls at the bar asking for Bad Bunny." And I'm like, of course you do. Like,
Wait, does the club even open?
I haven't even, it's 9 o'clock. It's not even 9 yet. Like, I haven't even.
Is he new?
No, he's been there since this place just opened recently.
Oh, so he's new, no?
Everybody's new.
Yeah.
But he's an older cat. He knows better.
He's been around.
But he's not a DJ, so does he know better? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he's like, yo, I just, like play. I was like, I'll get there, man. Just like, give me a second. And he's like, yeah, just like 10 minutes or whatever. I'm like, you giving me a time? Like, yo, like, first of all, you've seen me DJ here for months now. You know I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not the open format, like, let's get it. You know what I mean? Like, turn up. That's not my lane. But okay, cool. Set me up. I got you. Comes back in 10 minutes. He's like, hey, they're still asking. And it was kind of on me because I opened with like a Bad Bunny like disco mashup. Shout out to Nopa Slaps. I think he made like, yeah, like opening, like it was like a Between the Sheets. It was either him or King Most, one of their mashups. So I played it, and of course nobody realized what was going on. And so he comes back. He's like, yo, they're still asking. I'm like, fam, you were really setting me up right now. Like 9 o'clock, you want me to play? Okay, here we go. Like,
did you ask him for a drink or anything?
I don't drink, so like, what is he gonna give me?
Like water?
He didn't even ask if
he didn't ask if I wanted a water, nothing. Like just.
So I have a question. What's the equivalent of what he did and what you did to someone who works in the club? What's the equivalent? Is it like, let's say a waitress and you are like bringing sparklers out and you're bringing bottles to a table, and then while you're doing it, I'm like, hey, I need some shots at the DJ booth.
Yeah, I guess it would be the same thing. Like, yo, I'm like, so
like fuck everything you have going on here.
Yeah,
I need something.
It's the exact same
but
thing.
it's not even I need it for my job. I just need it because I want
so
it.
for example,
right?
I guess it would be like if I was bussing your section. Yeah. But I also have other tables that are paying and like demand attention.
Yes.
And you're like, yo, I need new cranberry juice. It's almost out. And I'm like, okay, you can fucking wait because I need to make sure that Buddy over here, who's got the $10,000 table, I got you.
He needs the cranberry juice.
I got you. Just wait. Like, but.
And then you can give me the, are you fucking kidding me?
And then I can give you the, are you fucking kidding me? It's just funny because like the next time I met you, it was totally different, and I met you on different terms.
When was that? That was I was hanging out with Phenom, and we went to your Paradise Fever party.
Yes.
By the way, he has one of the best dance parties in Vegas.
Thank you.
And it's in downtown Las Vegas, and it actually invades the Strip every once in a while on the record.
Yeah.
And it's a great disco party. And I was hanging out with Phenom. He dragged me out because he likes like bar hopping, or he did back then.
Back then, yeah.
Yeah, when he was drinking, when he was a fucking
he's an animal.
He was a fucking when Phenom was a fucking monster. And we're talking about Chicago, Portland Phenom.
Yeah. That's the Phenom in his sobriety, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I stumbled onto Paradise Fever, and you were playing. You were playing all these disco songs. It was great energy, and you had good merch. I like the branding. I appreciate branding, and I still yet to get a Paradise Fever t-shirt.
I got you. I haven't done a restock in a good amount of time.
And I want one of everything you posted because I haven't seen a whack Paradise Fever t-shirt.
Cricket, can you please tell him what I?
So
go ahead.
I have. You don't realize, but my branding and marketing mindset is inadvertently from you, because I was into streetwear for a long time in my younger days.
Yeah.
Obviously, so I was going to New and shopping at New, and I've been a b-boy for most of my life. So I was friends with Mig 187, who was your store manager.
Yeah. Shout to Mig.
Me and Mig started a breakdancing event called Circa.
Yeah.
And so we worked together.
That was big.
Yeah, we made some traction on that for a long time, which obviously, became the casino, and because of the same name, so the domain went to them. But anyways, we started that brand, and so I learned a lot of the things that he learned from you through him, just on a branding standpoint.
Oh wow!
So like, I didn't
know that.
Yeah, so a lot of like the things that he learned from working at New.
Yeah.
So from like looking at New and like using you as an example, like, yo, look how this looks. This is how we should make our flyers. This is how our post should look. This is how our shirts should look.
Yeah.
So a lot of the branding and stuff, like I've came because of like watching New.
Oh wow.
So you don't realize that's probably why you like it, because it's definitely in your.
No, I mean it's good. It's good. You know.
You didn't know that, huh? When he told
It's
me
not
that,
because I'm like I see myself there.
No, I know, but
it's
like
good. It's
it
good.
probably
Yeah.
speaks to your taste. Because you know, I've kind of
Well,
worked with somebody who's
I
like,
appreciate when shit is executed well.
Yeah.
You know, and then the shit is executed well. I like the branding because I don't really remember images and visuals, you know, unless it's really like, you know, gravitates to me. So when I saw Paradise Fever and the way it was marketed, I was like, this looks amazing.
Thank you.
Like, it looks great. And I've yet to get it. And I want to pay for the shit. I think I did pay for one. I never got it.
No, that's not.
I think I paid online.
I think you offered it. I think I just told you I didn't have it.
All right. But anyway, I was at your party and it was Paradise Fever. And then
Right.
I followed you and I saw the merch and I was like, I love the merch. And I probably loved the merch. I think the merch gravitated to me more so than even the party.
Right.
Because I think I did the party. It was like, it wasn't the beginning stages, but it was like, it was definitely,
early.
it was early stages. So it was like, I could tell. I liked it because I said, this can be something.
Yeah.
You know, and even the early stages of when I walked in with Phenom and when you were doing it, the music was great. You were great. You have a great look, you know, and you could dance. You have a great energy. And then when I saw the branding, I was just like, yo, this is going to be great.
Thank you. It was at the time, that was our last party at Beauty Bar. Shout out to Beauty Bar.
Beauty Bar, yeah, that was like a downtown Las
Staple.
Vegas staple.
It's a staple.
Yeah.
That's
Which no
where,
longer
like,
exists, right? I guess
Nope.
they turned it into something else.
It's
now
this
We All
huge,
Scream.
it's this huge mega club downtown.
yeah.
Called
massive.
We All Scream, right?
We all scream. Yeah.
It's fucking three rooms, right? There's
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
so it used to be Beauty Bar. Beauty Bar had like, obviously, it had the bar when you walk in.
Yeah.
And then there was an outdoor,
Like a
Yeah.
backyard.
a backyard, a patio or whatever. Now it's the bar that you walk in and the patio, and then there's an upstairs roof. So it's 3 rooms.
Wow.
It's
And
massive.
insane.
So it's an ice cream themed nightclub. It's wild. Full like Pioneer sound system throughout. It's cool. It's and they still like have little homages to Beauty Bar. Like the couches are the same material that they were from Beauty Bar, like the
Okay.
glitter patent leather looking stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
I mean, it's still like it's like 3 identities, really.
Yeah.
yeah,
When you walk in, because the bar is it looks very kind of elegant, old timey, a little bit, right?
yeah, it still has the same floor plan as Beauty Bar. Like the bar is still where the couches are still
Right.
where they were, but
And then when you go outside, there's like a DJ booth and like an ice cream truck.
yeah, it's like a giant ice cream truck.
Yeah.
And there's crazy art everywhere that they paid.
It's insane.
Insane amount of monies from artists all over the world to do. Wow.
And so it's like then the ice cream theme starts like popping off, and then when you get to the rooftop, it's like an ice cream cone DJ booth.
Yeah,
It's
it's
insane.
wild with like light up sprinkles
Yeah.
all in the back.
And I don't think they even finished designing it, like finished production on it yet. They want to add more shit, right?
They're still adding every time.
I heard there hits like cryo guns that shoot ice cream into the crowd or something.
Yeah, straight up like real life ice cream. No, they do serve ice cream. Yeah, it's a fucking mess. 12:30 every night.
sprinkles.
Just like hard fucking sprinkles. Shards of chocolate.
Waffle cones everywhere.
That's how we end the night. Just get the fuck out of here. I've been playing there every Friday. Shout out to Gregory Michael Davis, the guy I DJ with. And it's been a fucking blast. We're just playing dance music, disco house edits, and it's just been balls to the wall every fucking week.
That's your bag, right? You just love dance music.
I love dance music.
From
That's where I'm
house,
at.
disco house to dance to disco.
Techno.
Yeah.
I love dance music.
That's great. And
That's-
you want to focus on that.
That's really where I want to be. That's where I want my DJ career to put me.
Yeah.
Right.
Or open format's cool. I like throwback stuff. So like loungy gigs, restaurant gigs, that kind of stuff. Like where I can just be like throwback R&B, hip hop, get into like a 70s, 80s bag, like barbecue stuff, like that kind of stuff, like feel good stuff. I'm all for that. But like if we're talking like clubs and parties, dance music, house music, techno, disco, that's where my heart's at.
Yeah. I remember listening to you at an event one time, and you had like, you were going through this like this reggae remix bag.
Oh yeah,
it's really great. I wanted to tell you should do like a mixtape or something of that, where it's just you were playing nothing but nonstop reggae remixes and covers for songs that you know. Like,
I think that one I was playing for like almost like an hour and a half straight.
Yeah, you should make a mixtape.
That'd be dope.
Yeah,
I should.
Yeah.
I haven't even recorded in a long time.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but it was things like
Love Come Down.
Yeah, it was like an Evelyn Champagne King cover song, but in like with a reggae.
It was like dub or reggae or that kind of stuff. Dance hall.
It's insane. It
like
sounds
roots.
so good.
It's fun. Thank you.
And you just kept hitting it, and every song I was like, holy shit! I've never heard this. I've never heard this.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
It's just it's crazy because like sometimes I forget that like, oh, I had like a phase of this.
Yeah.
Like I went through like a dance hall reggae dub roots like phase of my life, and I'm like, damn, I got a pretty deep like bag because of that. Like I have a deep crate of that now because I spent a year when I was 16 obsessed with this, or other random genres.
It's funny you bring it up like that, because I think back in the day, what we used to do when people appreciated mixtapes, right? It's almost like comedians nowadays. Like comedians will work on new material for a year and a half, and then they'll like record their hour special on Netflix.
Right.
And then they'll showcase the last year and a half that they were, putting together this material.
Right.
So in retrospect, if I'm like digging into like, let's say I'm learning about Bay Area music and I just dig into it for like 4 months, most of the time motherfuckers would create like a mixtape of it. Or if you have like dudes that spent a lifetime, studying Bay Area music over there from the Bay, and they would like put together these mixtapes to kind of showcase everything they knew and what they were doing with the material. I feel like new DJs should do the same thing, where they just kind of take material when they're learning it and they're like really just kind of throwing themselves into it, just digging deeper and deeper into a hole.
Yeah.
And then they just end up having this crate and they know all this music, and it's really like it kind of becomes a part of their musical identity.
Yeah.
But they're not showcasing it to anybody. So people kind of just see them as this one thing that's seen on social media, but you kind of have to show them other things, and mixtapes were that thing.
Yeah, I think mixtapes is a really good way of doing that.
Yeah.
Because I think about all the DJs that I used to look up to who had like put out mixes, and that's how you would like, oh, that's fire. Like Amir and Khan, or like Dimitri from Paris, or even like Cosmo, or like the guys from Japan. You'd like find their mixtapes, and that's just kind of how you like would find shit. And then you'd also find like new music from that. But I think we're in a time where people are very quick to pigeonhole you as a DJ and what kind of music you like to play.
Yeah.
So like Paradise Fever started as a mixtape that I made. It was like a 4-hour mix that I made of just straight disco. And then I was like, oh, what'd be dope is if I turn this into a party. And then it grew from that. So now I just got like locked in for the longest time, where like I would only get booked for disco and funk stuff. I was like, well, yeah, I like hip hop and R&B too. I also like house. Like, so it took a while for me to like get that. But I think so I'd have to make a mix and be like, yo, I'd love to play your party. Here's my mix.
But it's great. It's really your way of like showcasing something like that. I'm curious to see if Jamie made a mixtape, how it would sound.
Oh, I have made mixtapes, but they sound like shit. But
no, you haven't come out with a mixtape yet.
I would love to hear you come up with a mixtape now.
Like, and put it like now and showcase it, because it'll honestly be like your first mixtape.
Yeah, I mean, I recorded my mixes in the past, but I see what you're saying, like a structured mixtape,
like a production,
like a thought out,
yeah, like a thought out one,
yeah. Where you're thinking it, like your mentors, your idols, and then like your enemies. Everyone's gonna listen to it. So you want to make it, you want to make it perfect, and you want to like show everyone like. Holy
it's funny,
shit.
because I also grew up listening to mixtapes, like the captains of the industry. They put out Mas Trabajo and all that stuff, and then you put out not long ago. What was the name of the last mixtape you put out? Brainwash. Brainwash was another good one.
What I did with Rockticon, he was like helping me with Ableton and stuff.
Yeah, and Mega Man, Michael Mayetta, he also helped you out for that.
Yeah, he has some great ones.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like it's a corporate of that, but I see what you're saying. Like structure mixtape. I mean, I'll take the challenge. So I'll put one together.
It's good because when you're creating a mixtape like that, you have to make it current, relevant, but also timeless.
Yeah, timeless.
Timeless.
There
Yeah.
has to be like a timeless element to it. So the songs you pick, you know, you could have like a couple filler joints. And that's really the joint. Like sometimes I listen to like my old mixtapes that I made that were like more like current, like from like 2004 or 2003.
Yeah.
And you know there's some hits there, but then you're like, oh shit, I forgot about this Marcus Houston song that, you know what I'm saying? Like that was poppin', like
Clubbing.
up in the club. I forgot that song. Remember that joint?
We can't play that no more, but yeah.
Yeah, but it was like little things like that. Or just
Yeah, I remember
like,
when I was listening to my iPod and one of my mixes from 2006 came on randomly on my iPod, and I was like just driving this and I was like, holy shit, like, and I could tell how quick my scratching was. Like I'm not that quick anymore.
it was sharp.
I was gonna say,
My
did you like it or were
scratches-
you?
Nah, your scratching's sharp.
But it was like insanely sharp on this like one Pitbull track I was doing. It was like 120 BPM and I was just cutting crazy.
Was it a live mixtape or you got it?
I did it live.
Was it?
Yeah. And I just went over it again, but it was just hearing it and like seeing where I was in 2006.
Yeah.
I was just like, holy shit.
But you kind of want that. You want a
Yeah.
record of that, especially when you're starting out. You want kind of like a resume of some mixtapes because it kind of forces you to like put something together and like show people like this is who I am.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the last mixes I made were during lockdown, and I still have them up on like my Mixcloud and SoundCloud. But I like tried to do a series of what I called color mixes. So I would be like, this is the blue mix, and so I'd pick songs that felt like kind of dreary and blue, like figuratively. And then I did a yellow, and it was kind of like Afro Latin percussive songs. But I stopped doing it just because we got to work.
Open back up.
So you got the blue and yellow.
You got blue.
Blue and yellow, like Pokemon, like the Pokemon games.
That's a good concept.
The red
man.
one didn't come out.
The red one never dropped. That was the one that should have came out.
What was red gonna be?
Probably more, I mean, it probably would have been more like yellow, just a little more aggressive, honestly, like more percussive, but a little more louder and faster.
Really?
Yeah.
I think red.
That might have been a move.
Yeah.
It might still happen.
You might have to go
There's
back
been
to
a
the
name
color
change since that was my old.
Although when I
like,
think
DJ.
red, I think about like either like passion or fire.
A romance.
Yeah, romance.
So maybe it like
Maybe more
maybe
love.
that'll be like the dub.
Maybe more love songs. Yeah, maybe that's the next
maybe
one.
That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe do that.
Yeah, that might be the
Great.
move.
That's good. Well, you figured out here.
I think we figured out. I'm
No,
gonna
I'm
put credit.
kidding.
I'm gonna put the logo.
Executive produced by Crooked.
Yeah, exactly.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Presented by the R.O.A.D podcast.
Put that shit out though. That'd be dope.
We're starting a record label
I'm
over
telling
here.
you, man. I don't remember a lot of shit, but like when I remember things like that, I was like, because it made me want to be like, where do I even start to look for things like this? And like, I got to hit Neek up, and it's always like an embarrassment, right? You're like, well, there's like a pride thing. You don't want to hit somebody up and be like, hey, can you send me like all the songs that you were playing?
I don't. You know what I do on my when I usually do best friend, and then I go up to OTR and hang out, and he's DJing. I sit next to him, and I'm just shazamming the fuck out of everything because it's so good. It's like even though 70s music, 80s music, whatever you're playing in there,
Yeah.
it's still brand new music to me.
But you got to Shazam on the low. You can't be like seeing.
Oh no,
Shazamming,
I'm
right?
letting him know that I'm shazamming.
I flat out don't even care. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm not doing this.
When I
shit,
first
you know what I mean?
started, when I first started out, like my first 10 years of DJing, I was in my bedroom and it was like very not serious. Like I was doing my thing. So like back then, and it was all on wax. I didn't know how to use Serato yet. So like all my guys that were teaching me were very stingy about their music and their records. Like you don't, you don't show, you don't bite, you don't blah blah blah.
What year was this?
I started when I was like 14, so this had to been like 2005.
That sounds about right. Yeah,
2004 or 5. And I mean, I couldn't afford a laptop and Serato and all that, so I was just playing records. But they were all very like stingy OG guys that were like, you don't show your records and only your homies get to see your shit. So, but now I'm just like, you want my fucking crate, you could have it. Like, I'm just, because I'm in my own lane. Nobody's going to play the shit that I'm playing at certain gigs. Like, people are going to stay in their own lane. I'm not worried about it. So, if you want my fucking dub crate, like, yeah, I got you, man.
but he has a good like method for shazamming. I think you're the one that taught me how you shazam.
Oh, on the low?
Yeah,
The
because
little
on
button?
the iPhone,
Oh yeah, the little button on the
you can add it to what is this? The widgets or something?
Yeah, the widgets.
Yeah.
You can add it to like the front widgets. So if
Yeah,
you want
I
to
have it right
Shazam
here.
on the low, you just hit that.
No
Sits
way.
right here.
Yeah,
Right there.
Yeah, it's a little
Oh.
button.
Yeah, because I hate
yeah.
Get that
I
blue
hate-
screen.
looking at the screen and it's pulsating.
Yeah.
It's
And you
blue
like,
and
like you just
you
know.
couldn't be clear.
I try to like put my screen the glare down so like no one can see it.
Yeah, because you really look like a lame.
Honestly, I just wear it. If I'm gonna, like, I used to just wear it. Like, I make it a
I try
joke.
to like act like I'm texting and I'm like going the other way.
I'm like, oh, hello, with the blue screen.
Especially if you alone, like you at the bar alone, and you
don't know the DJ.
No, then you just look like a spy, right? You look like a straight up
like criminal.
Like you have no soul, like you have no taste.
Yeah.
Like you just come in and you want to hear a motherfucking just take all the
Just
songs
rip
that
his
they were
shit.
playing.
And it's even worse, like if they catch you shazamming, like another person be like, "Damn, he doesn't know this song." Like you should know.
But I
this,
feel,
right?
DJ.
but I feel like there's a bunch of DJs, and we all hang out. We're like, "Do you know what this is?" And be like, "Nah." But I feel like everyone
I
low
think
key is
everybody low-key
shazamming
comes
it.
out, yeah.
You know, and then
Remember I was
but when you
somewhere-
did it, I was like, "Oh shit, that's so smart." It was like so low key.
You do it and you just.
Remember, I thought I was low.
I'm just holding my phone. You don't
I
know.
swear to God, I thought I was low, and I was like shazamming something like 2 weeks ago, and it was like a girl dancing with her friends, and she just like, "Oh no, it's this song," and I was like, "Damn, you can see me, you can see me shazamming." Shit. I was so
not shorty calling you out.
You felt like immediately old, right?
Yes.
Like, oh no,
I feel so old and irrelevant. I was like, "Damn!" Like first
How
of
did
all,
I leave that app open?
she saw me.
it just sounded real funky, so I wanted to play it, you know, for when I babysit my grandkids.
I'm at that age where I don't know any of the rappers now and shit.
I heard my niece playing it in the car when I was driving her to school.
I'm fucking-
I was like,
I feel whack when I have that shit on, especially like, you know, like when I'm alone.
Yeah.
I'm just like, and I do it, and there's no way, like, I'm trying to look like I don't care, like I'm not looking at my phone. But
the widget
and
might
then
be
I'm
the
looking,
move.
I'm
It
like,
might do that.
I'm like looking, like, is it gonna be able to find the song?
It's just
You know?
searching.
It's like searching. You're like, this is taking forever.
Yeah, if there's no signal, oh man.
And then it pops up. You're like, okay, cool. And then the phone is back in.
you feel the vibration. You're like, "All right,
That's funny, man.
In house music, like dance music, everybody's pretentious too. So like, if you get caught, they'll be like, "Oh, you don't know that?" Like,
Yeah.
Be like, no, I don't know this.
like when I'm in like, if I go to like a club and to see the homies like at like a open format room, nobody's gonna sweat me for checking a song because they all know I don't know it. Like everybody's like, "Oh, you don't know the Bad Bunny song? Surprise, surprise!" Like,
yeah.
So wait, but do you want to do everything? Do you want to spin open format, or do you want to spin, you know, just dance and disco?
I think when I started working, I wanted to be the guy that could do everything.
Right.
But now I'm at a place where I just want to do what I'm good at.
Right.
I don't want to
Or
have
what you enjoy.
what I enjoy. I don't want to be the guy that I'm not a master of everything. You know what I mean? I'm good at what I do, and I want to do that, which is dance music in all aspects. You know, old school, new school. Like I follow house, I stay up on the charts, and I'm glad I have a gig where I can play like that. But you know, I'd rather do like fewer of those, and then not have to fill the schedule with like filler of just like, oh, well, they want top 40 here, and you got to do that. And I just want to stay. I want to build an identity and stay in there, you know?
Yeah.
I saw in your 5-on-5 podcast, you said that you keep a regular job just in order to say no to the gigs that you don't desirably need.
Yes. And actually, I saw on your guys' show when you did the music retreat that Zimmy kind of spoke on that. And I totally agree. I still keep my job. I'm still a busboy. Granted, because my DJ schedule's gotten so busy that's kind of the main job now.
Yeah.
But just in case, you know, if I like something comes up, I don't want to have to do gigs that I don't want to do and that don't speak to me and that I feel like I'm going to go in and fail at, when I could just let somebody who's good at that do that job, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to take the same jobs that like Jaime, you know, is good at. I'd rather just let Jaime do it. Like, I'm not going to, you know what I mean? Like, if he's in the reggaeton top 40 hip hop and R&B bag, I'm not going to go in there and like pretend that I know what I'm doing in there, because you know when somebody who doesn't listen to the music, doesn't enjoy it, is playing it. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that I really respect when I see a DJ that's juggling a job and he's doing his gigs.
Yeah.
I respect that. Sometimes when you're like relying on just DJing to make a living, there's a level of desperation and like shadiness. You start to do things that you don't want to do. You start to move ways you don't want to move. And it's not easy, especially when you're first starting out. Mm-hmm. And it's like you don't want to come into a game the wrong way either.
Right.
Like taking someone's gigs or overstepping or undercutting or doing all of these things. And sometimes you have to do those things
to stay in it.
Stay in it. But like if you're juggling, it just kind of allows you to kind of figure everything out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with double income, because honestly, when you're DJing, I don't care how hard you're killing it with DJing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of time on your hands. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of time.
There's a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah.
So if you're not like producing and doing all of these things and like vlogging and all of this stuff, like sometimes you don't even need to do that. You know,
Right.
Not everyone is built to be an influencer, DJ, merch creator, and all of this things.
You gotta do all that shit.
You're already doing enough. You have your own party. You're doing a podcast. What more do you really need to do? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So to make additional income on the side is something that, like, in the nightlife industry, where you can also listen to other DJs, which I think is the best thing. If I was ever to work in nightlife and to study DJs, it would be in bartending or bussing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
You
could
hear
literally
everybody.
just hear everyone's style.
That's
You know?
honestly what got me, like, once I started working. So like 10 years in my room of like kind of blase DJing, like for fun, to like you have a gig where I just realized, oh damn, I've been 5 years of listening to DJs in the club.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and then once the ball rolls,
From beginning to end.
from beginning to end,
Yeah,
opening,
right.
closing, like.
And it's crazy because one of my good friends is a bartender, and some of the best music conversations I've had have been with him because he's constantly in the club. He's constantly listening to openers, headliners, DJs that are amazing, DJs that are not so well, but he hears all of that, and so his perspective on it is incredible. Even like criticism towards myself, I take that because I'm like, I know he's
there
heard
from
it all.
open
you know
to
what I mean?
close.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting because it's like when I used to open and close, like do like 6-hour sets from New York to Las Vegas, I used to think about the bartenders in the beginning of the night and the end of the night.
Yeah.
Because it's like from 12 to 2 to 2:30, that's everyone's busy and making money.
Yeah.
But it's like when it's dead, that was when I was like, yo, I got to play some different shit from 10 o'clock to midnight. I'm entertaining the staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to play shit that they're going to enjoy and I'm going to enjoy and we never hear.
Yeah.
So I remember like that was my main thing. I was like, I'm going to come in and give some for the staff. And then towards the end of the night, it's going to be for me.
Yeah.
Like the end of the night is for me.
Yeah.
100%.
Like give me the last hour or give me the last half hour.
Just let me do my thing.
I don't get that anymore. I miss
Yeah.
it. But it's like, it was like a very giving thing, and it just give me the end of the night.
And if it's a gig that you play often, the staff knows your sets.
They know your tendencies.
Oh yeah, 1,000.
You know what I'm saying? There would be I remember back when I was working at Trist, I got to Trist as soon as I was 21, like almost a month. And I remember hearing huge name DJs and then knowing like their whole set and be like, oh fuck, so and so is coming in tonight. Like,
Yeah.
and I'd be able to call his set down the line, you know what I'm saying? And just be like, oh, and then the whole staff would be like sick of it. But, we forget that there's a different crowd every night. So,
Right.
But you got to keep the staff
But
in mind.
do you guys hear the same set even when it's busy? You guys get sick of it even when you're busy?
You could zone it out, but it really does make for a long night.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard the opposite from when I used to work at Jet. The bartenders were like, "Why are you changing it up?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "You keep changing it up." And they're like, "It works better when you play the songs like this."
Whoa, shit. I've never heard that.
They were telling me like we don't. They were just like, "It works better when you play it like this."
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I've never experienced that.
Really?
That's cool.
I've never heard a DJ come in, play a different set, and us be like, "Yo, what the fuck? You fucked our night up."
Well, it's kind of like when you're building the energy, and then they know. It's like they know what you're gonna do, and they're like, "This always works."
Okay, I mean,
Because I think there was a point where I would build it up from it's like lighting guys, right?
Yep.
Like when I work with lighting guys, they kind of like when I change the sets, but they also like when I do some of the same sets. There was little pockets where they know like, okay, I'm going to get the crier ready. He's going to do this. But when I change it, they would be like, wait, what did you just do?
like, yo, I was ready for you
Right.
to do the thing.
But I was ready for you to do the thing. And I think with the bartenders, I think in Jet at the time, they would throw napkins in the air. So they knew the big songs coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the time they were like, "Oh, you kind of switch it up. We don't know when to throw the napkins or something."
Okay, yeah, that's different. Like if you have like mini sets, like little like routines,
Yeah.
and you fucking change it up.
But typically, like you guys
But,
want to
like,
hear different shit. Yeah.
Yeah, typically like there's at
But
least
it's not
kind
like.
of.
But it's not like.
But how different can you really be? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
But you know what's always the test of time is that you'll have like the best DJ there, and after like 2 years of them, you're like, oh my God, I know what they're gonna play. But then when you guys get a new DJ and that guy's gone or that DJ's gone and she's gone,
so and so was so great,
and then you realize how good they were, right? Yes. That's the best. That's the best thing when people hate you and you're like, all right, the club is like, they know my whole set inside out, and then I leave, and then they have all of these new DJs, and then the staff is like, we miss you so much.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Anything
it's
gets
not
old.
The same.
It's like,
not the same anymore.
Yeah.
It's like a relationship.
Yeah. It's true.
Ain't nothing like new.
Yeah.
And then new gets old, and then you want the old again.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, man. That was deep, man.
Great analogy.
So before we continue with the episode, I actually want to congratulate two really good friends of mine, basically like family. I came up with them in the New York scene in the early 2000s. To me, they had one of the first like good music parties started by DJs in New York. So in the early 2000s, you know, these guys were the benchmark to me for like good music parties at the time. They were giving an alternative to like what the nightclubs and like the big rooms were offering in New York. And it was the best shit ever. They had the best venue at Southpaw in Brooklyn. And they were just kind of that staple Brooklyn party. And I'm talking about the R.O.A.D. And the R.O.A.D is celebrating 20 years. I can't believe it's 20 years.
It's incredible.
You know, and for me, in my opinion, without the R.O.A.D, you don't have the Do-Over. You don't even have Moma's Everyday People. There's the whole bunch of parties. Because to me, these are one of the guys who started it all. And it was DJ Ayers, DJ 11, and Cosmo Baker. But, you know, to congratulate these motherfuckers, I got Ayers and I got 11 on the line. So, you know, we're really happy to have you guys here. And, yo, congratulations on the 20th anniversary. You guys are celebrating that shit this Saturday.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
thanks for having us. We're excited.
Yeah, man.
Excited and overwhelmed.
You have MoMA and Get Live spinning with you guys that night for this Saturday coming up for the 20th anniversary. We all came up together with MoMA. Get Live is one of my favorite DJs right now in New York. You know, I think he's like amazing. Every time I hear him, I think he's amazing. What are you guys excited for this Saturday? And what you guys got planned?
Yeah, very excited. And we booked the two of them because they're dudes who we very much respect, and we wanted, instead of throwing a bunch of money at a big guest or having a bunch of people come through and play short sets, we wanted to have people who are great party DJs in the New York party tradition. And those dudes are two of the best. So we wanted to have them and their family.
Yeah. I feel like there's a couple of people who are killing it really hard in New York, and like MoMA's definitely one of them. You know, Eli Escobar is another, but I feel like Get Live is one of those dudes that's like, he's really the one to pop off in New York. I really love, I love his energy, and he's great on the mic. He has a lot of confidence, and he's really good at just juggling and hopping through genres, and just really, really, really great DJ.
I didn't know him until much more recently, probably, right? Like the last, I say recently, like the last six to 8 years. But you know, like clearly when you see him spin, he's been doing it for a very long time, because he'll eat our lunch. Like he's really, really good.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, he has that like magnetic presence, like a Kid Capri or whatever. But then, you know, he gets busy like a new school DJ. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you know, every time you see him, he does something different. And he can like sort of stay ahead of the crowd to, you know, like he'll play stuff that they didn't know that they wanted, but they go for it.
Right.
I mean, Mo does that too, though, for sure.
Yeah. Moma's a mastermind, you know. He's like a master manipulator. He knows how to read a room and manipulate it, you know. And he's very strategic the way he moves and the way he organizes his sets. I actually want to talk to you guys because you guys used to be monthly, but now you're going to do quarterly, which is like every season, right? Pretty much. So we're getting kind of like the end of summer for your 20th anniversary this Saturday. And then the next one will be in, I guess, October for Halloween, right? And then the last one, usually. And then the last one will be New Year's Eve, pretty much, right? For you guys? So
right.
You guys are doing quarterly, and, you know, to start out quarterly when you guys have been doing a monthly for I don't know how many years. You know what I mean? Was that a conscious decision? You guys are just getting older? Is it just wearing on your old bones?
Jesus Christ.
It's hard to stay up until 5 a.m. once a month. We could do it once every 3 months, much easier.
That's what it is?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a combination of things. It was that the pandemic sort of allowed us a reset, gave us a chance to think about how we wanted to do it differently and how to have the party fit around our lives and where they are now versus where they were 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, our lives revolved around DJing and around working in clubs. And now that's not true as much anymore. So we wanted to do it in a way that fits with our other, the other work we do, our families, you know, and how we wanted to approach it. So, it's, you know,
that was a very responsible answer. That was a very responsible elderly answer. I like it. Yeah.
I know. I wish that there was a better answer than we're middle aged.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is also that we're the promoters for our party. Like we've never really had outside promoters. We've done a few things where we partnered up with people and did collabo parties or guested at other stuff and all that. But we've owned our brand and our thing, and it's like why we're still here, because we still care about it and we still get along. But it's also means that we have all the work of booking, and when you're locked into a calendar that's monthly and you need to draw for a room that big, and you know that the next one coming up is like the Saturday after Thanksgiving, for example, because we've been doing last Saturdays for 10 years. Mm-hmm. That one's just going to be a wash. Like we'll break even. It'll be a really fun party, but it's, 300, 400 people. And we would like to see it be 700. So it felt like a way to like kind of get rid of that dead weight of having to do parties that on that calendar. When we looked at it, it was just like, wait, actually, why do we do this? Why do we do the end of August if we don't have to, when everybody in New York is either in the Hamptons or like go out to California to Disney or up to the mountains or whatever, to Europe this summer. It seems like everybody's in Europe. But it's that thing of like, yeah, we don't need to be on a treadmill with this, like booking DJs every month and getting flyers every month. If it's not the work that we want to be doing, like let's let the ones that we do be really, really good, get DJs that we super love, and have it be like a jam to end all jams every time.
Yeah. It's more eventful. It's more special. It doesn't seem as like frequent. So I totally understand it. I've noticed on social media, you guys have been posting all the old flyers, some old pictures, and all of that stuff. And sometimes, like when I'm a part of something, like when I had a clothing brand, you're just kind of like running with it. You're running it. You don't really realize when you're living through it and you're trying to build a business. And, when 10 years pass or, 15 years pass, sometimes you don't realize how special this thing is that you guys created, like the Rub. And then when you guys are posting some of these pictures and even the artwork and the flyers you guys did, like there was so much thought that went into everything, from when I look at, it's the motherfucking remix and I see Spike Lee, you know what I mean? It's like there's these branding things in the script of the Rub. It's just so iconic to me when I look back at it now. It seems so special, those times. And the fact that you guys are still doing it now, I think it's crazy. I don't even think when it was happening then in the 2000s, I would have thought it would have still been going on now, 20 years later.
I remember a friend celebrating her 45th birthday party, and we were already in our 30s, but just being like, whoa, that's crazy. Like it's kind of like when you're a little kid and you think like, will I ever drive a car? Will I ever be 18? Am I going to have to go to war? Will I have to kill somebody? Like all those crazy thoughts that you have when you're a little kid. And so like, to Joe's point, it's also like,
did you guys think that am I going to have to go to war and kill somebody?
I never thought about that one. Sorry, Eric.
am I the only person who
I thought about the car one.
I thought the car one,
Yeah, after the car one, you lost all of us. You were like,
Could have wanted to kill somebody. Whoa.
Okay, so Crooked, did you ever think about, when you were a kid, did you ever think about, will I ever go to jail, for example?
No.
I did.
Well, I mean, maybe when I saw like Scared Straight or something, but that was like later in life.
You ever thought you'd get drafted?
Yeah, I was like, nah, that's not happening. I don't want to fucking go to jail. That shit looks crazy.
Yeah, the draft scared me. I was like, wait a minute, man. They might just pick me and I have to go to war.
I ain't trying to peel the orange.
The metaphor is I mean, literally like, this was our dream when we were 22, 23 years old, and we wanted to play on a big stage, and we've done that, and it doesn't feel like it's our personal goal anymore. It feels like it's our job, and it's super fun. Mm-hmm. Like hanging out with your friends and getting to see the best DJs play, and like, counting the money at the end of the night. That's great. It's not the only thing that either of us has going on,
Like I remember just getting so wasted. I mean, you guys would have me DJ some of the rubs in the early 2000s when I was still in New York. I remember just getting so wrecked and having such a great time. And this is when I had to bring vinyl in. This is like before the Serato days. I don't think I've ever DJ'd the rub on Serato, to be honest with you. It's always been on vinyl.
Long.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never DJ'd the rub on Serato. I've always been on vinyl. So I had to bring like a case or two. And I remember DJing with you guys. It'd be like me, Cosmo Baker, you, and then like two, like Brendan Bingham or some, like somebody from Philly. And it would be like
Low B.
It would be all these crates of records behind us. Like everyone had their own crates and everything was on the floor. It was on the stage. And it was like, it was insane. It was like the first time I DJ'd there. I remember I was able to play Crooklyn Dodgers. And I think I did a whole 80s R&B set. It was like I was just playing all of these records that I would never get to play like in like a New York City nightclub. Really, it was like one of the greatest times I had DJing. It was insanely fun. I still think about it now.
Yeah, big part of the goal was for the party was we were doing clubs in Manhattan as well, and it was work. It was fun, but it wasn't the music that we loved, and we were able to find an audience for it in Brooklyn because people weren't doing parties in Brooklyn at the time. And then once we found that audience, we were able to bring in all of our friends who, played shit on the weekends that they didn't love. And we gave them an opportunity to play it for a receptive crowd. And we're able to do that with cats from all over the world. We were putting together a list of the DJs we've had. We've had like over 200 guest DJs in the time we've been doing it, and literally from all over the world.
Yeah.
Back then when you were here and you DJ'd and you brought vinyl, the other thing that was going on then, besides that we were all drinking way too much, was that there were no set times. Like,
oh yeah,
nobody had set times, and everybody was just kind of tag teaming, and a lot of us were like
tag teaming the crowd. Yeah, tag teaming the
you're
crowd.
You're like people are like turntable hogs,
right?
And when you're drinking, you don't notice that like an hour has went by,
right?
And like your guy is like tapping you on the shoulder, like, am I going to get to play before the end of the night? And I'm not going to say who was the most guilty of that.
I'll say it.
I'll say it. Definitely.
I'll say it. It was Cosmo Baker.
Why was I just?
Cosmo Baker was like the notorious dude that if you were killing it, right? If you were just murdering it, you'd get the tap from Cosmo like, yo, I got some. And you're like, all right, cool. Like, you let him get on, and then he'd get on for
never get off.
He'd never get off.
Shouts to Cosmo.
And then when he got, when he busted his nut on the crowd, he was like, all right, like, who's next?
It's your turn.
And then we get on. Yeah. But as soon as you kind of got in your groove again, you get the Cosmo tap again. Be like, oh shit, and you were kind of like, yo, it's his party. Like, yo, like
he wants to hit it again.
You can get on. But you were probably talking about him. But yeah.
Well, so also you would bring like 3 or 4 crates of, you would bring records like you was going to spend by yourself for 6 hours, right? Like when you would do that party, because you knew you were going to have to play classics and you're going to have to play dance hall and you're probably going to do some classic house, and you're going to need to hit 45 minutes of Rockefeller because it was that era. So it's also like you don't want to miss that pocket, and it was kind of competitive, and you did want to it would spark ideas, and like for everybody, it would spark ideas, so that you hear somebody do something with an acapella, you'd be like, well, I want to come back next week and do something different with that. You know what I mean? Something, I'm not biting, but it was a real incubator for ideas, because we had so much freedom in that room, and because almost everybody we brought was also like so creative. Then it's just crazy to think of doing that on vinyl now with
right.
like record skipping and people bumping into stuff and spilling drinks and all of that stuff. It's like such a nightmare.
Yeah, but it all worked out. Like, even though there was no set times or anything, it was like when I'm joking about Cosmo. Like, we never took it like, oh man, fucking Cosmo coming. We were all like just having fun.
That's a fun.
And it was just like, it was like a blast, yo. So it was really like the best time, man. It was like everyone was so humble, and you guys had so many burgeoning superstars, spinning at your party before they blew up. It's really kind of insane. You had everybody from A-Track. I mean, Evil D's been on there I don't know how many times, right? Just Blaze. I mean, you've had everybody on that.
DJ Scratch, Premiere was a huge one for us, and when you have nights that people would show up and they don't even know who's going to DJ, and then you bring Preem out by even having him do our party at all, much less tear it completely down.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, I really credit you guys for really just planting the seed. I mean, you were one of the first parties that I saw get a write-up in Time Out, New York Times. It was insane, you guys really paved the way in my eyes for DJs starting their own parties, good music parties. And there wouldn't be a lot of parties that are thriving today if it wasn't for y'all. And I'm really we want to congratulate you on 20 years, and I'm really happy for you guys. And I also want to say, if you guys never heard of the R.O.A.D, there's a lot of young DJs, and there's a new generation of DJs coming out, and you're in the East Coast or in New York, please go to the R.O.A.D Bell House this Saturday. What is it, July 30th? July 30th with MoMA and Get Live. If I could take off, I would fly out there and go myself. Yeah. I think it's going to be an amazing party, and I'm so happy for you guys. And also, I want to plug one of the best and greatest mixes of all time for 80s R&B, The Glamorous Life. It's by Ayers and DJ 11. Mm-hmm. There's The Glamorous Life 1 and Glamorous Life 2. If you guys love 80s R&B, you want to hear it spun insanely amazing, check that out. These guys made probably one of my favorite mixes, top 3 mixes of all time. Top 5, top 3, up there.
Oh, that's so kind of you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
What do you guys, is there anything else you guys want to plug, or any last words before we, we keep it moving?
You gotta put us in touch with your booking agent so we can have you guys come through and record a podcast. We'll just stop the party in the middle and you guys can talk for a couple hours.
Oh God.
No. If we're ever in New York, I'm gonna try to do it around the next R.O.A.D so we can fuck with you guys next year, maybe in the spring
before the next sundress party.
Yeah, we'll do the sundress party.
Definitely want to come to the sundress party.
the first sundress party for 2023. We'll be there.
I might have oversold the sundress party.
Well, guess what? We're there, buddy. Bell House.
Okay, yo, love you guys. Ayers 11. Love you, man.
Yeah, too.
Have a great time on Saturday.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, have a great time, y'all. What do you call it? So anyway, I wanted to talk about something that happened. Did it happen on Twitter? Yeah, it happened on Twitter, and it was, I don't want to have a long.
It always starts on Twitter. What do you mean?
The thing is, I'm usually kind of busy, so I don't really engage in Twitter. But then there's some times when I'm just recently I'll take a day for myself, and I'll I'll relax and I'll go on Twitter. But then I just started I just saw like this tweet. You know, I love Artistic. Shout out to Artistic from LA. Yeah, I love what he does on social media. I think he's like really interesting, but like he just sent this one tweet and I thought it was like misinformative. Yeah. So here's the tweet. Every DJ I've rocked with this week at NAACP is just as mad as me that they have a Pioneer 900 and not an S9 like we all requested. It really is a hip hop versus EDM thing too. Barely any hip hop DJs I know actually prefer the 900 over the S9, S11, or even, I guess he's saying the Range 72 and the Range 62, which were two horrible mixers, in my opinion.
Well, not the 72.
Huh?
The 72 is on with the screen curtain.
Yeah, I mean, 72 is kind of horrible too, man. It's like Rainbow Bright in that motherfucker. I mean, how many things do you need to light up on a fucking mixer?
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, he, you know, what he was saying, you know, this tweet I thought was misinformative just because he was creating this narrative that the 900 Pioneer mixer is an EDM mixer. And then the S9 is, you know, a hip hop mixer. Right. And let's be honest here. When did the S9 come out? 2015. The Pioneer 800 came out around 2004. Yeah. And I was using that in New York. Yeah. When I came to Vegas, we were using like a Rain 4-channel mixer. And then it started becoming the Pioneer 800. Then it was the 900, literally through the late 2000s. If you were DJing in the 2010s, from 2010 to 2018, you were DJing on a 900 Pioneer.
Yeah, most of the time.
If you were in a club, like in a legit club, maybe like a 500 capacity club, at least a 500 capacity club, you were DJing on a fucking 900. Yeah. So I DJ hip hop parties. You know, I DJ open format parties. You know, D, you were there right with me, side by side at Tao, Lavo. I don't know, you name it, right? Yeah. We were on 900s for like 10 years. Still. Like 10, 15 years playing hip hop. Playing the grimiest hip hop shit. So I don't know where this narrative came that the 900 is a fucking EDM mixer. It's not an EDM mixer. And then people were kind of tweeting at me, well, it's 4 channels, and usually EDM DJs use 4 channels because they have 4 CDJs and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, in the early 2000s, everywhere I DJ'd, a club mixer, a nightclub mixer had 4 channels. Yeah. You had 2 channels for turntables and 2 channels for CDJs. Yep. And not everything was a Pioneer CDJ at the time. Back then, it would be literally a CD player. Right. Where like a CD, like a fucking, what do you call those? A drawer like came out.
CD tray.
A CD tray would come out. You'd put your CDs in there. We used to carry books of CDs. And, you know, because there were like songs that we couldn't get on vinyl. Yeah. There was some rock songs, certain house songs, certain old school shit you couldn't get on vinyl in the early 2000s. And you'd play it and you'd play, you know, you play on 4 channels. And usually, you know, a 4-channel mixer is a club mixer. Yeah. You know, like it's always been a club mixer. Like a 2-channel mixer is a scratch mixer.
Battle mixer.
It's a battle mixer. It's for scratch. It's like literally, even back in the 90s, there were 4-channel mixers in disco. I mean, to the 70s.
I was going to say in the 70s, they were using like 4 to 6 channel rotaries.
So if you want to say anything, the 900, you guys should just call it like a disco mixer, if anything. You know what I'm saying? Because in retrospect, the 4 channels doesn't mean anything except the fact that it's a club mixer. And because it's a club mixer, it's going to have a better sound card. And it's going to be more durable. They're building a club mixer that's built to be durable and to have good sound. That's the main thing. You know what I'm saying? Is the sound quality.
If you're spending all this money on a club and building a sound system within it with intention, you're not going to throw a toy as your nucleus. Like, you have to have a good mixer.
I wouldn't call like scratch mixers a toy, but I think it was kind of understood that a scratch mixer is almost like a bedroom mixer. Yeah. It's not something that would be for the club or for commercial use, right? So it was one of those things that you would practice on, you would scratch on. So, you know, the durability on it, you know, like everything. Look, the first scratch mixer that changed the game.
The 56?
No, Techniques mixer.
The one they were using for the DMCs, right?
The DMC Techniques mixer. It's literally the best mixer like I've ever I've ever had in my life.
I've never even seen it in person.
The only shitty thing was the durability of the fucking faders.
Every time I see one, the faders.
They just bled like a motherfucker.
Right.
And they kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. That was the only problem with that mixer. But that mixer was like perfect. And it's so perfect that even to this day, the layout of that mixer is in the S9 and the S11.
Yeah.
All right? That's the same layout that to this day is on there because of how perfect it was.
Yeah.
I called it a DX. It's an EX 1200.
So like if you go back to that Techniques DMC mixer, you're going to see like there hasn't been many scratch mixers that were, to me, to compare.
Yeah.
Until the S9, which was in 2015.
Which was designed by Jazzy Jeff.
Not even like
DJ.
So I mean, mixers that predated that, like the Jazzy Jeff, the Pioneer 909. That was everybody.
I used to call that the Jazzy Jeff mixer because he's one of the first motherfuckers I saw.
Yeah, the one with the orange screen in the middle.
The orange screen.
Yeah.
And it was like what do you call it? And the first time I saw him DJing on it was in Lotus. And he was echoing shit out. And I was like, how the fuck is he echoing shit out?
That?
You know, like, and I was like, holy shit, he's echoing shit out. That's insane.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, that was the things, like all of those mixers were never good enough to last.
Yeah.
Right? So like, did the 56 last 10 years?
No.
The Rain 56, the Rain 57, did that last 10 years?
I really thought the 57 was going to because it was the first Serato integration.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this thing is going to be.
But it was horrible.
You had these little buttons that were
they're
like
hard as fuck.
They were like smaller than, I don't know,
Little
like
pellets,
Tic Tacs.
like little-
Yeah, like you couldn't even hit that shit.
for your cue points. Yeah.
The cue point buttons were horrible. Even the knobs
And they had the
were
knob for the
small.
effect.
They were so small.
weird.
Yeah.
Everything broke.
Analog stick.
Everything.
I mean, I
broke.
get it. It was like the first thing of its time.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
you kind of had to figure shit out.
And in the scratch world, the 56 was like king at the
Yeah,
time.
56,
right? Like everyone was
56 because it was simple. It was
Yeah.
good. It was a good scratch mixer. It wasn't the best for like a club or anything. Do you know what I'm saying? So, as we go through the years, if you want to talk about Rain 62, horrible. Rain 72, I think it's horrible as well. I'm sure a lot of like scratch dudes love it, but it's not good for the club. You know, like when the brightest thing in a DJ booth is the fucking mixer and you can't see the crowd and it blinds you and shit, it's not good.
Right.
In a dark ass club, it doesn't work, man. But so if we go to any of these mixers that everyone's naming, these scratch mixers, none of them lasted 10 years. But when you look at the Pioneer 900, that shit lasted for 15 plus years.
Yeah.
We've been using that shit in the clubs, DJing hip hop. So that was the misinformation I got from that tweet.
Not a lot has changed on the 900.
No, it's a solid mixer. And then the thing is, like, you know, he was tweeting that, you know, like we're all mad as hell that we couldn't get the S9. And it sucks that you're, you know, when you want to perform your best and you're not getting the mix that you want. But I also think like, yo, the 900 isn't an obstacle.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's not an obstacle to like fuck up your performance.
I think,
You know?
I think the genre differentiate, like making this mixers for this genre and that genre, like I think that's silly. But I do understand the performance,
The
and
usability.
the convenience
Yeah.
of an S9 over a 900.
For sure.
If you're a Serato user, regardless of genre.
Yeah.
Having MIDI controls and cue pads as opposed to tapping on your laptop is more convenient.
And having echo and reverb effect
At a flick, like
at a flick of
Yeah.
a wrist.
We get
you know.
that.
but
Of course.
I don't even think
There's a button for that. in the
that's what I'm
900
saying. The
too.
900 way of doing things still isn't that inconvenient to me.
Yeah, it's not.
But it also requires you to be cleaner.
You got to be cleaner.
You have to be a
Way
cleaner
cleaner.
DJ. You may have to do less.
You can get
And
away with.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like if you're on a 900, that is a solid ass mixer. It's built like I would never come into a venue and complain about that shit, even if I wanted a S11 or S9.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but look, I respect your preference on whatever. But
Yeah.
to me, I don't think that's something to complain about. You could still do your job and fucking
You can still
kill it.
get busy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think a lot of DJs, in my opinion, I feel like they depend on the effects too much. You know, so like instead of creating transitions like, hey, I want to go from 100 BPM to 70 BPM or 100 BPM to 120, you know?
Yep.
They'll reverb or echo something out
And then,
and then play something. But when I hear a DJ that continues does that every two songs, they sound lost to me. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because if you're playing one song and you echo it out, and then you switch another BPM and you play another, and then you switch and then you echo it out, and then I'm kind of like, where are you going?
Yeah.
Because now you're like an echo. You know, you could be DJing on iPods at that point.
You're not actually doing like a real transition.
Well, maybe put into perspective for some DJs that haven't been in the club scene for the last 15 years, right? So maybe they kind of came up where that S9 from 2015 and now has been their standard.
For sure, but it was also the Red Bull 3 style that implanted this idea that that's what like a turntablist hip hop DJ is, which is fine.
Right.
I actually love it. I actually like the usability on the S9 a lot. I love the S11. I think the S11
is the best.
S11 to me right now is the best like 2-channel scratch mixer or club mixer possibly. I think it's one of the best.
Yeah.
I still hear issues with the sound a little bit, and I can explain the sound a little bit more later on what I hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the S9 is new. You know, like I didn't even see that in the clubs till maybe 2019.
First time I saw it in the club was in LA 2018.
2018.
Yeah.
You know, and then let's be honest too. The pandemic happened. Everyone, you know, went to streaming, and everyone got an S9. Everyone got an S9 during the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, so like over the last 2 years, a lot of these hip hop DJs that are saying that the S9 is a hip hop mixer, you know what I'm saying? Like they got comfortable with the S9, and now after the pandemic, I'm seeing more S9s and S11s in bars and clubs and everything. I see way more of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the first time I saw S9 was with P Dot at Commonwealth in 2018, but that was the only place I've ever seen an S9 in a club.
Yeah,
that was the only place. Everything else, 900 everywhere.
When I walked into Commonwealth for the first time and they had an S9, I was like, oh damn! Like I've been playing on 900, so it's cool to see the mixer I have here. But again, I just think it's convenience. Like, I think people are just more concerned with the convenience of having a mixer that is built with Serato in mind and being like a full MIDI controller. But to say that it's, I don't know, I also am against the notion of being like Serato is for hip hop open format DJs and CDJs and record box and sticks are for house DJs. Like,
I mean, but even with the Nexus, like I love the convenience of Club Kit with a Nexus, right? You can just plug right in top with the USB, and it's essentially
why not just use
rocking
Club
an
Kit?
S9.
It's the same thing. So then you get the full functionality of your Serato on the CDJ. You could do everything it does.
Right
so like, why not? If that's your complaint, use Club Kit.
Yeah, and that's what I've been on. I can't even use a SO4 anymore. It has to be either Club Kit or nothing.
But I guess if you're using DVS, like if you're using vinyl and a 900, now you have no pad option.
Right.
So I think the pads are really the big like point for Serato users who are complaining about using a 900.
I also think there's like a misconception of like sending in a writer and requesting equipment and not getting the equipment you want. Like that's not something recent. That's been happening since forever.
Yeah.
You know, like walking into a venue and not knowing, and this happens in New York a lot. So a lot of New York DJs know what the fuck I'm talking about.
They're accustomed to it.
Yeah, they're accustomed to that shit. In New York, you don't know what you're walking into when you go to a venue.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't know what the fuck kind of mixer they're gonna have. In New York, I had to DJ on Yuri's, on fucking I had to DJ on Reigns with Knobs, you know?
Yeah.
And you just had to make it work. And back then, you would have Funkmaster Flex. Like, I remember DJing at the Roxy the first time. And it was like, it was the illest setup in the world. And I was like, I don't know what to fucking do. I don't know, like, and I had to figure it out, like, right before they opened.
Yeah.
And I was trying to, like, mix records. And it was a rotary rain mixer. And I was like, fuck, I don't know. And, you know, after half an hour, 45 minutes, I kind of, like,
You figured it out.
I figured it out. I was opening. I opened up. Funkmaster Flex's opener came through. He hopped on and he was flying through that shit. And the level of like, I was just so inspired.
Yeah.
To just, I love, to me, that's like hip hop. Like you can give me whatever the fuck you want. Like whatever you have, I don't care. I'm still gonna rock it. I'm gonna make this party pop no matter what.
Regardless. Yes.
Regardless. Like no, I'm like, I have no fear whatsoever. Like I'm not this diva house DJ or this diva whatever DJ. You just give me anything and I'm gonna rock it. I don't give a fuck. He got on, then Flex got on, and Flex just fucking destroyed it. He somehow transformed with the rotary.
I've seen that before. That's
wild.
insanity.
He was dropping shit on the mic, juggling all this shit, and I was just like, yo, I need to learn so much more.
Yeah.
It was just inspiring to me. And that's why I never like complained about equipment ever.
Yeah.
Like no matter where I go, and trust me, I go to all of these clubs. I travel. Imagine like flying, 6 hours, landing somewhere, and then not having the right mixer, and then having Serato issues and all of this. There's so many issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for me, you gotta rock it no matter what, man. And it sucks. This has been happening for decades, yo. Like you're never gonna get the equipment you have.
That's part of DJing, man. I just
is.
feel like equipment issues and now software issues, troubleshooting is just a part of DJing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I just feel like the whole point is to be nice. Like, if you show up to a gig,
To be professional.
you got to be a professional.
And when I say professional, that means in every way. Not just nice, but like I gotta rock this room no matter what.
Right.
I mean, like imagine a motherfucker coming in and actually having to DJ on vinyl with like needles. You know how many issues we had to like troubleshoot with needles on vinyl.
The spot.
On vinyl, like
I can't go home and get new ones. I just got to figure it out.
Yeah, that was the craziest time ever. Record skips, like album cuts.
The confetti goes into the fucking.
The
needle.
biggest shit was album cuts, turning up the gain so much that you were getting feedback because the volume on the album album LPs are lower. Mm-hmm. So when you turned up the gains, you started getting feedback from the needles and the speakers, which is the craziest shit ever. There's so many other things, but it's just a part of being professional. Mm-hmm. And then there's a new breed of younger DJs that's like, well, we have to go through all that. Yeah, but you like
That's fine.
That's fine. But you also like, when you bitching, everyone that's older than you and more experienced is always gonna tell you, yo, like boo-hoo.
Yeah.
Sorry about it.
It could be a lot worse because it could be a lot worse.
It comes down like it can be a level of intimidation when you're like learning on something.
Yes.
Like for instance, like I can drive a stick shift, right? Like I learned how to drive car on a stick shift. Most people can't drive a stick shift if their life depended on it. They learn on automatics. Yeah. So maybe they would figure it out if they learn how to like pop the clutch, put it in first. You know what I'm saying? So like using that analogy, if you're comfortable on something, you probably feel like in your heart you're gonna do your best job on that mixer because that's your comfort zone. But like you said, it might take you 30 to 45 minutes to figure it out, and then you can get in your groove, right? But initially you might feel like, fuck, like I'm not used to this. You know what I'm saying? And that might be a little setback.
But also, I don't like the weakness in it. I don't like someone like not knowing how to do something or not being comfortable on it, and then typecasting it or creating a narrative that this is why you giving us. We're hip hop DJs,
right?
Why you giving us this mixer?
Yeah.
It's like it's like you saying, man, what the stick shift cars are for white people. Why are you giving a black dude a stick shift car?
Like it's completely irrelevant.
You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense. And it's kind of like, yo, this is kind of like, yeah, but I'm black. Why are you giving me a white stick shift car?
Like that variable doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Like you're going to drive. We got
to get to point A to point B.
Exactly. And that's the one thing I just don't like about that tweet where it was creating this narrative that one thing is EDM. So why are you giving us... We're hip hop DJs. Don't give us EDM mixer. And in the end, it's like, no, they gave you a club mixer.
They just gave you a mixer.
They gave you a mixer.
They give you a mixer that sounds good. And if you understand, it's just to speak to your analogy, it's just like if you know how the machine works, you should be able to operate it. You know where the clutch is. You know where the shift is. On a mixer, you know where the crossfader is. You know how to change channels. You know where the EQ is. You should be fine, regardless.
But not only that, it's like a badge of honor. It's like every mixer that you can like learn. Like when I walk in, and I remember I was in this club in Texas, and it was the first time I ever worked on a controller. Like there's a badge. I was like, yo, like I'm not gonna let this shit fuck with me.
Right.
And I did my job. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't comfortable, and I got through the night. But I had that on. I had a little badge. You know what I'm saying? I got a little stripe.
Nice on the rotary.
I got a little stripe, so I'm like, all right, I want to learn that now. Now I want to learn how to use controllers. I want to fuck with that a little bit more, so I'm more comfortable with it. It's just like you want to know everything. You don't want to just want to know one thing, like sticks and record box and beat source. We want to learn it all.
Yeah, I had to do that this year when I started doing the pools. I had to learn how to start, transferring music on record box and having a stick ready to go at all times and just having it plugged in just in case. Fucking computer crashes, you could just go sticks and just work as easy. It's not that.
Yeah, but imagine being like, yo, man, why Why I got to work on sticks? Yo, I'm a hip hop DJ.
Nah,
work
but
on
you gotta
sticks, you know?
adapt.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't.
It's
I don't
nonsense.
Like that.
I don't like the genre placing on equipment.
No.
Yeah,
That's really the big thing. I get the convenience and maybe the argument that those people are trying to make. Convenience makes sense, but like, you know, if you're complaining that like, if any other variable other than your own convenience, it's just not true. 900 sounds better than an S9.
But
By a long shot.
But it's like, yo, even Beyonce or like a superstar performer, they're going to go on stage and all these things are not going to be working. There's not going to be a monitor. Their headset's not going to work. You know, they might have a lower mic. They might not be able to hear like what the music's playing. The lighting might be off, but they still got to fucking perform.
Yeah.
They still got to do their shit. And it's just being professional, you know? And then it's not like creating these narratives that make DJs weak. And I'm a hip hop DJ, you're a hip hop DJ. We're all kind of, you know, hip hop DJs. I don't want to make hip hop DJs look like divas and like we're weak. Like we should be able to just DJ on anything, yo. Yeah. And I kind of like that. I like the balls that, you know, a hip hop DJ can rock on anything.
That's what hip hop is.
Yeah.
Like from the jump, like it's being resourcul.
Yeah, I don't think Grandmaster Flash was like, ooh, 4-channel, I can't scratch on that one.
You know what I'm saying?
It was like, nah, this is all we got, buddy. You're going to rock with this.
Master Flex like created the mixer, the DJ mixer to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he fucking invented that. I mean, it's all about taking what's given and making magic out of that shit, you know?
I don't want to sound like I'm dogging anyone.
No.
But
And plus, like, yo, we got love for artistic. I'm not trying to like.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to.
We're not trying to sound
I'm
war,
not
but
trying to like say he's a.
we're
like,
just
you
trying
know.
to
like he doesn't know what he's talking about. Of course he does.
He's
but
an amazing DJ. I'm sure he's amazing on a 900. You know, I just don't like that what the tweet. It was misinforming, and I think it was creating this narrative. I don't want to hear hip hop DJs being like, "Yo, don't give me an EDM mixer," because it sounds like ignorant.
What I would like to hear is, instead of saying, give me an EDM mixer, give me the Serato mixer because I play on Serato. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes sense to me.
Yes.
I think that's maybe more of the point that these people are trying to make is I play on Serato. I would like to have a mixer that is accommodating for Serato.
That makes sense.
Because the 900 came out before Serato, so it had to do things to
just
make
even
it
recently,
work.
yeah. Like
you know
the
what I'm saying?
Nexus
Like just
and stuff
recently,
like
the
that,
Nexus 2 was even like not really considering. So I get that. Like if you prefer a Pioneer S9 or S11 because you use Serato, use it because you want to use Serato, not because you play hip hop. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Plus, I've seen 4-color Zach on a 900. He wants an S9. I kind of, when I think of 4-color Zach, I think of an S9, right?
Yeah.
Same. He's the reason why I bought an S9. By the way, I'm selling my S9. Anybody's interested, let me know.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I fucking hate my S9.
Don't say that. But, you know, when I've seen him.
revolutionary mixer.
It's because my preference is not an S9 crooked. That's all. So it's a preference thing for me.
It's a preference. But but like I've seen him on 900s and then he's like, man, I'm on the 900. I can't do everything I need to do. But I'm like, yo, you sound great.
Yeah.
Right.
You sound great, bro. Like, don't worry about that shit. You know, like it's not as clean as possible. It's not this and that. It's like, yo, it's good. You're like, you sound good. I just don't want that narrative.
Can't do the tone play and stuff like that.
I do want to talk about the sound card because everyone's like, yo, no one can tell the difference between the crowd can't tell the difference on
That
the S9
shit
sound
is
card
crazy.
and the 900 sound card. Let me tell you something. If you have any mixer, right, any mixer, and you stay at 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock, you know, you're good.
On the master.
Yeah, on the master and the gains. The gains is the main thing.
Yeah, your trim is
The trim and the gains is the most important thing. If you stay at 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock is little, to me, if you're between 11 and 1 o'clock on any mixer, you're good. If it's getting pumped into another board, even better.
Right.
Even if it's going straight to the amp, fine. The second you start going to 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock, or you start putting the gains or the trims to 10, and then you put the master to 10, that's when you're going to hear like the most fucked up sound from an S9.
yeah.
As soon as you pass 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock on the S9, on the gains and the trim,
You sound crazy.
on the master, it sounds like absolute shit. And then you have there's this auto limiter in the S9, and it compresses the sound even more. So what people don't understand is the more you're turning it up, the more you're compressing the sound. So it sounds even more like shit. So all of these beautiful high highs and these beautiful low lows are getting eliminated, and now you're just getting all of this mid sound. You know what I'm saying? So it sounds like a clock radio, except amplified on really big speakers. You know what I'm saying? And if you guys, some people were tweeting at me like, the crowd can't even tell the difference between a 128 bit rate MP3 and a 320 bit rate MP3. You can tell 100% the difference.
Play them right next to each other, you'll hear the difference.
Yes.
Put it on your Serato, the wavelength.
I've heard DJs play a 128 and then mix into a 320. I'm like, oh shit, did the subs just turn on?
Yeah.
Did they just turn on the subs?
Like the fullness of a 320 is insane.
If you guys like, the thing is like, yo, the crowd can't tell. The crowd doesn't know the difference. They're not going to be able to pinpoint it. You know what I'm saying?
But they're going to know something's up.
They know something's up, you know? Like
You feel it on the sound.
Look, if I'm cooking something and I'm cooking chili or I'm cooking a dish and I give it to you, and if you're a regular person, you're going to be like, it's missing something. Some people might just say, just put salt, right? Because they say put salt in everything. If I give that dish to a chef, they're going to say, oh, you need some, you need a little bit more acidity. You know, you need a little sweetness. You know, they're gonna balance it out. You need more garlic. You need this. Of course, if I'm a professional and I walk into a club, I'm gonna hear the difference. Yeah. I can 100% tell when there's a 128 bit rate MP3 on, or 320, or if there's an S9 in there, and the fucking DJ has it on 10 and the master's on 10.
Like, oh, I feel like I'm in a tin can. Like,
you
know,
that's exactly what it is. So if like, look, the crowd doesn't know, but they know. Mm-hmm. Once you give them a comparison, they're going to be like, oh, this sounds way better, and the experience is way better.
Try when you listen to somebody who plays only FLAC files.
Yeah, or wave.
Like the DJs who only play waves, like you could tell.
Like most EDM guys do play a lot of waves, right?
FLACs and waves.
Yeah.
And yo, the S11 is a beautiful mixer. But even when I've been DJing on it, yo, when I get to like 3 o'clock on certain joints, I got to turn it back down. On a 900, I rarely ever have to turn the trims or anything down. Yeah. I could be at 4 to 5 o'clock on trims on certain records.
That V meter is good.
Yeah, I'm good. You know, and plus it has that clipping. You know, the new Nexus 2 900. They got the clipping. They're letting you know when you over, but it never really clips. You're getting the warning, but it sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's the difference with the sound cards. And the thing is this: if you can't tell the difference, you haven't been in nightclubs long enough. Yeah, you just don't know sound, and that's fine. But like if I'm telling you there's a difference, and all of us that are DJing clubs can tell the difference, there's a difference.
I mean, we've done events where we asked you told us what do you guys want, and we're like, well, 900 is cool. We'll run with the 900, and then the S9 pops up, right? The first thing you tell me is make sure that fucking limiter is like you turn that shit off, because it really fucks up the sound, and it fucks up the experience, and it fucks up the whole event.
The Serato limiter.
No, on the S9.
Oh, the gain. Okay, got it.
The S9.
No, S9, you have to go into like
the internal settings.
The internal settings, and there's an auto limiter that's automatically on.
So you have to do that on the computer to turn it off.
No, you have to do it in the S9 mixer on the screen.
Shit.
Yeah, so you have to hold the shift, and then you hold.
Oh yeah, because it has the baby.
Yeah, so then you have to hold it, and then you have to. He tells me all the time, he's like, "Yo, make sure that shit is off by the time we get on because
you're doing every DJ that plays after you a favor."
Yeah, so it's because I'm going first, and D, and then Crook, and then Neville, whatever the case is. I usually go first, so he's like, make sure that shit is off because.
And I see these DJs, man, they have it on 10. Everything's on 10.
You see it cranked.
They cranking it up. They think they're getting louder, but they're getting lower. They're actually.
Anytime the bass hits it.
That happened to me before. I was like, why am I turning this up and I don't hear any difference? And
I'd rather it just be quieter. You know what I'm saying? Like if that's the case.
If you're turning something up and it sounds like it's getting quieter, you actually need to turn it down.
And then tell your sound guy to turn it up.
Well, no, and then let the limiters level up, and they'll turn it back up to normal. And you'll hear it go back up.
Yeah.
Because I just don't. If my shit like is anywhere outside of yellow on my VU meter, I just tell the house DJ the house guy to like turn the house sound up.
Yeah.
Because I've reached my peak. I can't go past this.
But even D, you were talking about this earlier about Serato having, what is it? The auto gains?
Yeah, the auto gain.
Yeah, that's right.
So recently, like maybe like a month ago, I stopped using the said auto gain because the recommended one is I think the 92 dB.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people use. But then when I turned it off, I noticed how much fuller my files sounded.
Yep.
That's wild.
Like it's insane. It's almost like you're literally putting your files into a limiter, and then it's taking that file and just projecting it in a limited form. So then when you take it off, you sound like a whole nother level of.
You're taking your
crazy.
limited music and putting it into a
limited
mixer with a limiter.
And then like I'll play like in these larger clubs and I can completely hear the difference. Like
putting
files,
a hat on a hat.
Yeah, like the bass, like some of the mids, it's insane how much of a difference is. And I've noticed a lot of DJs like Crooked, he's never used it.
Yeah.
Certain DJs I like go and listen to, I'll pay attention to that and see like if they have their files on auto gain. And the ones that don't, the files sound amazing. It's like you're like literally like really like contracting your files to fit into like this limited amount of bass, limited amount of mids, limited amount of highs, and it just funnels it that way into the crowd. It's weird.
Yeah.
When you take it off, that shit sounds amazing, bro.
That's crazy.
It's weird. I never have the auto gains on. I started taking it off because there were certain parts of the song that I run through records kind of quick.
Yeah.
So there's certain parts of the song where I only play the beginning of it. But it's like I want the keys with no drums to play just as loud as the song with drums.
Right.
So like I'll turn the gains up so that when I scratch that in, it hits harder.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I can't do that with auto gains.
Yeah.
I lose that control. You know what I'm saying?
You lose that speed too because you don't have time to like make sure
I don't
it's
have
the right
time
volume.
to like check the gains and make sure that it's at the right
just needs to be
right
on.
volume of that. So I just need it like automatically ready.
Yeah.
And because of auto gain, let's say if you have a file that comes in with a vocal, the vocal actually might be lower than what you would want it because it's trying to match the gain of when the beat drops and comes in too. So like the audio of the vocal is very much lower. It's weird.
Yeah.
No, that makes total sense.
And what I've also noticed is that like a lot of my openers that would open for me when I headline, they'll have auto gains. As soon as I play the first record, my record is like 30% louder than theirs. And it hits. It has more of an impact.
Right.
That
works out for you.
It works out for me, but that's an old trick for any headliner. If you're any headliner out there, like turn your shit up just a little bit when you get on. It makes a big difference. It's like people start noticing, like, oh shit, like
the headline's here.
Yeah, like now the music's on. Even fucking performers do that. Like J. Cole did that at Dreamville Fest.
Yeah, his shit was way louder than everybody.
His shit was just like a little bit louder than everybody else's. And it was just like, of course, he's the fucking headliner.
That's an old school rock thing too.
Yeah.
Like opening acts, like bands would get mad if they brought their own amps because it's like, yo, don't bring no fucking giant stacks in here.
It's an old hack, man. Like a headliner you had on, and it's like all of a sudden the music's hitting harder and louder, and like, yo, everyone's feeling it, and you're on the mic. It's like, yo, you have more of a presence. But yeah, I mean, look, in the end of it all, like with this whole conversation that we had, like it was a lot of people like, Crooked, you're fucking up the Twitter feed, you so
You're causing trouble.
I apologize, man, because I just don't really go on the app that much, but I got a lot of love for Artistic. I got a lot of love for the DJs that was shitting on me too. I got a lot of love for them. But in the end, it's like it's experience, man. Like you can't tell me for the last 15 years of my life, this mixer that has been like the most stable, reliable mixer in like the history of club in nightlife for me.
Period.
In the past 2 decades. I've gone through so many mixers.
Yeah.
The 900 is like the most reliable mixer for like almost 10 years straight, for like 10, 15 years.
Fucking
and people are like, yo, times changed. I'm like, yo, exactly, times changed. You got the S11.
Yeah.
But imagine like scratch mixers. How long did it take them to make the S9? There's been so many scratch mixers. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
For a long time.
And the S9 wasn't even perfect. Now you have the S11. It's just going to get better.
And the S9 just got discontinued too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
now you
it's
have the S11. Now it's getting better. So yeah,
That's the best part of this conversation. We're fucking talking about a mixer that technically doesn't exist anymore. It's fucking gone.
But it's just.
But I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, like, look, you can't tell me that, like, I have this history. You have this, you have this history.
Yeah.
The 900 is the fucking go-to for club shit. If you told me, like, yo, why they got 900 here? I know you weren't DJing from 2010 to 2015. I know for a fact you weren't DJing from 2010 to 2016. You was not in the, like, you weren't outside.
Yeah.
If you're complaining about a 900, if you're complaining about a 900 mixer, you weren't outside. You weren't in the clubs because that's all we had.
It's true.
And there was the other ones. I think it was called Behringer. There was that one.
Oh my God.
I hate
That was like the poor man's.
Yeah, it's a
900.
poor man.
A Behringer and a Allen and Heath are like.
Yeah. So those two, like, if
you know what? You get busy. Like it's
Yeah.
they suck and they're inconvenience and they're
I
different.
had to get busy. I remember
know what's funny?
The Alan Heath is actually
It's a great sounding mixer.
great sounding mixer. And actually, it's made for house.
It's made for house. It's an analog mixer. That's why everybody likes it. It's not like Pioneer mixers. They're all digital mixers.
Yeah.
Allen and Heath are are analog mixers. So vinyl sounds fucking
Yeah, I've heard
impeccable
those
on
are. I've never experienced it personally, but I've heard Allen and Heath makes great mixers.
They're
that sound
so
quality.
good sounding. They're weird as fuck to mix on because they're just not what we mix on. Again, it goes back to our convenience conversation and knowing your shit. But like when you see a 4-band EQ and these really fucking long faders and a crossfader that's a little longer than you'd like and it doesn't have the cut, it's different. But fucking get with it. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, man, I'm gonna keep my distance from the app right now.
From Twitter.
I feel like people are
No,
thinking
but
I'm
it's
fucking
what's
bad.
funny is that I talk to Artistic normally,
Yeah.
and I'm not on Twitter, so he's like, "Yo, you don't know what's going on Twitter." And he sent me the conversation.
Yeah.
But he was in good spirits with it. Like he wasn't like upset or anything. He was laughing. Like
No, it wasn't a.
Yeah,
they were
he-
not
it's
It's
angry.
not spicy.
But no, I just was saying that because I don't want people to think that this was like this kind of like feud between you and him.
No.
Like, it was like all in like good like sportsmanship. You guys were just having a conversation, and
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't nothing harsh or whatever.
No, because I really respect what Artistic, what he's built,
Yeah,
what he does, and his talent. I really love it. I really love what he does.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he was misinformed. He was misinforming people.
Yeah.
I feel like.
yeah,
But he wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not against anyone's preferences. I just don't like, weaknesses in hip hop. I don't like that. Like
Or in
when
DJs.
in DJs and just mostly hip hop too. It's like, it's one of those things too. It's like if you weren't DJing in 2010, you don't know what hip hop DJs were going through in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
There was an EDM, there was a rise in EDM. All of the hip hop DJs were getting pushed out from the main rooms and we were getting pushed to the side rooms.
yeah,
And at the time, it seemed like there was this kind of line in the sand where a lot of, I guess, open format DJs or hip hop DJs had to say, am I going to be an EDM DJ now? Because it's cracking right now. So there was a lot of DJs that said, I'm going to be an EDM DJ, And then so a lot of these hip hop DJs became EDM DJs. And then a lot of them were kind of like big names.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of like people that kind of represented us.
Right.
And so when they left and went to EDM, we were kind of like, we had to like kind of, we had to stay with hip hop, obviously play some EDM and get through it all so that when hip hop came back to like the main rooms, we were still loyal to the hip hop shit. And then when the EDM kind of scene kind of died a little bit, those EDM dudes that were hip hop dudes tried to come back and they couldn't come back.
Because now they're associated with
Right. And for me, I don't like when at that time we were representing hip hop and we were representing open format and we were on a 900 mixer and we were just getting down on that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that was
within
like
the genre.
And we like for someone to say that's an EDM mixer, that means like I'm an EDM DJ. No, I'm a hip hop DJ and I was loyal to hip hop.
Yeah,
at a time when everyone
was going to EDM. So don't call me an EDM DJ because I was DJing in 2010 to 2015 on a 900.
Right.
And I was
Real playing hip
and I was batting for hip hop. I mean, if anything represents EDM, it's not the 900. It's actually the CDJ. The CDJ represents EDM more than the 900 mixer. Because at that time, when hip hop DJs started moving and transitioning to becoming EDM DJs, the first sign of the transition was them moving from turntables to CDJs. Oh, so it's like you're not using 2 turntables no more, you're using 3 CDJs because that's what all the EDM DJs used. So the CDJs actually represent EDM more than the 900, if anything.
yeah.
And look at, you talk to Franzen too. I'm sure he was on the fucking 900 or he was on whatever the fuck a club gave him. Because I know how Franzen is. He's a fucking G.
No EDM.
And he's no EDM.
Did you
He's
use
no
dicers?
Huh?
Were you guys on dicers?
Never.
I had dicers.
Oh, those corner thingies?
Yeah, you put them in
I
the
didn't do
45 adapter.
Nah, I don't like that shit.
I had the dicers. I ain't gonna front. I used to put them in my 1200s on the side.
That's
Yeah.
That's your S9, dog.
Yep. First S9.
Oh Lord.
I'll never forget.
How much better did that make you though? How much better did it make you?
Not much, but I had a story.
See, that's why I hate this shit. Go ahead.
No, I remember I was DJing. I think I opened for you might have been at Hyde.
You opened, right?
Yeah, and you showed up and I had the dicers. You was like, who do you think you are with these dicers opening? I was like, yo, like, I'm just this new shit, man. I wanted to try out my dicers. He's like,
yeah, but then it's like a pain to like, I'm like setting up. And then this fucking like, you know, and it was high too, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna do the confetti blast. We need the song ready, and I'm trying to get ready, and I'm trying to, you know, get ready to do this whole shit for Hyde. And D's trying to unplug his dices in the middle of my shit. I'm
Going
like,
under the turntable.
Like, yo, get this shit out of here. Like, you really needed this from like 10:30 to 12. You needed this for a 2-hour set. Like, what you think you was
You're gonna
doing?
reach over and press the 6 or the 1.
Yo, when openers had those fucking dicers or like the Pioneer thing on the laptop stand,
The XP1.
Yeah, I'm just like, get this shit out of here, bro. Like, what are you doing? Like, what fantastic shit are you doing, really? From 10:30 to 12:30, you just warm this shit up.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, warm it up. Play good music. Have the girls singing, bro. Like, fucking, what are you trying to do? Like, 3-style shit right now?
I was using them dicers for a while.
For what?
too.
So you didn't have to reach like 8 inches to your laptop?
It was a new toy. I was like,
man.
fuck it, let me get busy with my new
Like,
toy.
D, don't be one of these motherfuckers. Did you ever use it again?
Nah, it's in the crib. Yeah, left
Then
the
the
crib in
boxed up.
years.
How much did that shit cost?
It's like $200.
Yeah.
200?
Yeah.
You guys paid 200 for that?
Yeah, it was it came with 2 cables, a carrying case.
I do. Don't try to sell it to me. Like,
It's like buying a phase. It's like buying phase now.
he's like, it came with a cleaning brush.
Yeah, you don't get it.
He said, don't try to sell.
You can change the color from blue to green and red.
Full
Yo,
RGB.
Fuck out of here. You really tried to sell it like it was a complete package,
Because
right?
you could change it.
It
From
had a wire
coupons.
untangler, so you could, like, you know.
You don't have to tangle your shit.
It literally did what the S9 did. Like, you could MIDI it out to where it wouldn't do the cue points. You could hit like your like sound effects, your loops, all that shit.
And it came all in a nice dust bag too. And look, see, I still have the dust bag.
Little
I
leather
use it,
zipper bag.
I use it for my toiletries when I travel.
You
Now.
can't forget about the 2 stickers.
My God, the dices. I would love to interview the guys who created the dices.
They might.
I'd be like, what happened, man? What happened?
Nothing.
What happened?
The S9 or the 57, I guess.
Yeah.
The 57 dropped.
Yeah, probably some like French guys. Hey, we were killing it for, you know, like a good 6 years, and then
Make that
S9
money.
came out.
That's wild.
I want to know what the dices people are. What company made that? You know?
You know,
Native Instruments.
Native Instruments.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
They're still
That
they're doing
department,
their
pretty
thing.
sure.
that department's gone. That department's gone, yo.
Remember, they were making a bunch of MIDI controllers and like different shit for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if
They're
they
still,
are.
I think
Yeah.
they're like, do they do Tractor? Is that?
I think
Native
you're right. Yeah, they
Instruments?
do. Tractor is owned by Native Instruments.
Oh, shit. They got a whole bunch of departments closing.
They've been rocking that same mixer for as long as the 900's been
Holy
around.
shit. Yo, I just had a conversation with someone who's on Tractor. And they were telling me like they're still on Tractor. And I was like, yo, there's nothing wrong with like learning new things, you know? I was like, yo, learn new shit.
You know what? For some reason,
I'm just like, why are people afraid to learn new shit?
Yo,
if,
Tractor-
if you're still using Tractor now, you can 100% use like a ton of other things like
At
record
the very
box.
least, get on sticks.
Sticks.
Like
Yeah.
if you don't want to switch to Serato, you don't want to see a new software,
Record box.
get on Record Box. Get,
I don't know
get
why.
on
Every
sticks.
time I see a DJ in a strip club, they're on Tractor. Like that's like this.
No,
the
they're
strip
on something
club.
they're on a what's the DJ?
It's like they have their own like
No,
intra,
like their own software strip club
Virtual-
DJs.
virtual
No,
DJ?
Virtual
Is it virtual
DJ.
DJ?
Virtual DJ.
Why? Why do they all use that shit?
One of my very first gigs was video DJing, and I had to play on their computer on Virtual DJ.
What is what? I wonder. Yeah, why is it in? We have to ask somebody.
Yeah, we'll get a strip club.
You know,
DJ.
you know who started to DJ on virtual DJ, and I think he did it for a long time.
I think it's free. That's why.
Silent Natty. He started off with
that's
virtual
right.
DJ.
He
Yeah.
did.
Oh no way! He did say that when we.
Yeah.
Jesus,
That guy learned how to DJ on his
man,
computer.
that was short lived.
Is it really easy to use Virtual DJ?
I've never tried it.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. I
It's
played with
so like minimal. It doesn't. There are no bells and whistles. Just this song and
But it's
that
always
song.
like like a desktop computer that they're DJing.
Yeah.
on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's like a PC.
That's
thing.
why, because they're probably not DJing. They're just playing the songs one after another.
Yeah, there's
They got
no
the
like.
crossfader. You can move it, drag
I
it.
think it does
basically
have
like-
like a sync.
Yeah, you could do it on. Yeah, you don't need hardware.
Yeah.
You can literally do. On,
Yeah, that's why it's in strip clubs.
Yeah.
Because the guy's announcing, and he's not
He's not-
necessarily
he's not-
a DJ. He's
yeah.
just playing the music. He's just got that strip club voice.
That's honestly the only requirement you need.
Candy to the stage.
And they got like a sync. You can just sync the tracks right up and all that.
Lotion to the stage. Lotion.
Better give it up for Lotion.
I remember I made a stripper cry and leave.
Were you a strip club DJ?
No.
Oh.
But she came and she was like,
Might
she
as
came
well
to our
be.
table. She came to our table and she said, we were like, what's your name? She was like, Lotion. And we all laughed.
That's a pretty horrible name.
Shorty, you need a new one. Back to the drawing board.
And we kept fucking with her. Like, you must be hiding some lotion. Like,
Her name was Lotion. Trust me.
yeah, just put it with name.
Moral of the story, her name was Lotion.
Her name was Lotion. Wait, that sounded really bad, but it wasn't bad. All right, we're gonna end this podcast. We're gonna end this. All right.
See you guys next time.
Neek.
Yo.
Make the time,
Thank you.
man.
Thank you guys.
Thank
for
you
real. It was
thank
a
you
fucking
for coming
blast.
through, man.
I really
and
appreciate
you know
it.
what, man? I'm looking forward to seeing like where you go, because I really I love what you do, and I love your energy. I love who you are as a person, and I feel like everything that's happening right now, everything you're doing. So Neek DJs in the parlor room on the record. He does like almost all the spots in downtown Las Vegas, from Commonwealth to We All Scream to everywhere. And then whenever you bring Paradise Fever back or whatever, like let us know.
Yeah.
Because we definitely want to plug it, but also I want to go.
Yeah.
And I want to get my T-shirt.
We might be doing at Cheap Shot, and it may be happening a lot more often than it used to. So.
So
Nice.
Dope.
good shit. Yo, Neek, thanks for coming through.
Appreciate you
it,
guys.
man.
Thank you guys so much.
All right. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.